guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new I Don't Work Here Lady content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled I Know I Don't Work Here, but woohoo! I'm a Brit on holiday in the US, currently in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I've just met a Karen. I'd nipped into a BK for a quick, cheap meal. I'd ordered and was filling my water bottle with water. I'd put the ice in okay but did not make note of where the water was dispensed from, had my bottle too far back and got water everywhere, all down me, completely drenched my arm, and the floor was awash. Ironically, the only place I didn't get water was in the bottle. So, I grabbed napkins and I'm drying me on the floor. A member of staff rushed to help me. He was trying to take over the cleaning and I heard a throat clear and then, "Karen, honey? Honey?" Me, turning to face my first Karen. "Karen, oh honey, don't you clean up, it's his job to clean up after us, you don't have to help him. It's what people like him are for." Me, "I made the mess, it's only right that I clean it up." "And what do you mean, it's what people like him are for?" "Oh, never mind, just know, you're no better than you ought to be." I turned back to help clean the last of the water and helped the man put all the rubbish in the bins. We thanked each other for helping. I'm wondering if she understood that my comment was a mild insult. I do hope so. The next story is titled I Don't Work Here, so take someone else's advice. Shopping at the local Big Red Circle store, I overheard a lady trying to decide which Wi-Fi router she needed. Seeing no staff around and she was getting a little upset, so I went to help her out. Asked a few questions: ISP, modem, how many users, devices, how does it get used, and it seemed clear that she should get a certain model. Told her which one, and why it would be best fit. Meanwhile, a staff member walked up and asked if he could help. He didn't ask any qualifying questions to understand her needs. She's standing there with the router in her hand to put it in the cart and he says, "Oh, you don't need that one, get this, cheaper, one instead." She looks at him in his red shirt and then at me in my casual business clothes and then at the price tags. Slowly put back the router I recommended and picks up the other one, with a look of, "Am I doing the right thing?" on her face. I said, "Well, I don't work here, so I'll let him help you now," and off I go. Heck, maybe I'm wrong. I've only done IT for 15 years. Don't know what happened after that, but I did see that cheap router open boxed on the clearance end cap a few days later. The next story is titled I Don't Work Here Anymore. My first job out of high school was the store everyone wears blue and yellow. Back when I worked there you could wear everyday clothes as long as it had a blue shirt in the store's colors. There 9 months. Hated it. That was 2012-2013. Now I am almost 30 with 3 kids. Just a few days ago I had to make an emergency stop there to pick up diapers and seen an ex-coworker and stopped to chat. We separated and I headed to checkout. Just as I get in line a woman tries to shove past me in line. I kept my place being sturdy as I am. This woman told me to move my ass and get back to work. I looked at her like she grew a second head and told her I don't work. Showed her the diapers and told her to wait her turn like everyone else. She spots a manger and tells him I insulted her. Manger looks at me. Said hi and asked how my kids was. Woman started yelling at him saying that he needed to make me leave. He totally just ignored her. She threw she stuff down and walked out huffing. He laughed and walkie for someone to collect the items and return them where they went. I later told my husband who laughed his butt off. The next story is titled Pet Stores Were Never This Formal. It's been years since the last time I had to answer no to "Do you work here?" But this one feels a little far-fetched. Phone formatting apologies to begin. To give some scene-setting info, today I wore a 3-piece charcoal gray suit with a black bow tie to work. That's another story. But we got a new puppy yesterday, and there were a couple of things I was asked to pick up on my way home. I am holding a couple of dog brushes and trying to make up my mind on a new toy for my dog. While not really paying attention to my surroundings, a little old lady walks up to me, tiny dog in tow. "Pardon me, do you work here?" No. Sorry. I'm Canadian," and she gives me the most heartbroken "oh" that someone could deliver to that answer. Made me feel bad enough that I found an employee for her. But I couldn't imagine the pet stores she may have visited in the past that the uniform would have passed for black tie optional. The next story is titled Karen Neighbor Threatens to Burn Down My House Because of My Pets. To start this off, I have some unconventional pets. Tarantulas, snakes, a spoiled mouse, and some conventional pets, cats and dogs. As such, I've gotten a lot of pushback from entitled people. However, this last interaction takes the cake. I was out walking one of my dogs when I heard screaming coming from a few houses down. When I got closer, I found out it was my new neighbor screaming at Ray, the pest control guys. This woman is a shorter Hispanic woman, with short brightly colored hair. Spit was practically flying from her mouth. A young bored-looking boy stood in the doorway of the house. When Ray sees me, he waves me over quickly. "Look, Ms. Tex here can tell you we are just walking around the house to do the pest control. We are hired by the WA." Ray practically sobs. "Hi Ray, really does work for the WA as pest management. However, if you don't feel comfortable with Ray or his company being around your house, you can just tell him to mark you down as a skip." I shrug, understanding not everyone is comfortable with people walking around their homes. Yes, I don't want those people walking around my house. My sweet baby was playing outside, and he scared him. Karen screams. Ray looks so relieved for a split second. "Yes, Ms. We can certainly put you on the skip list. Or even as a partial skip like Tex does." Ray offers. "A partial skip?" Karen asks, confused. "Yep, I have some exotic pets that are sensitive to the spray they use, so they skip the window to their room," I told her with a smile. "Exotic pets?" the boy says, peeking up. I smiled, going into full teacher mode. I explained that I have many kinds of pets. I told them that I take in a lot of specialty pets people buy before doing the research on. Or since COVID hit, I've been getting a lot of animals from people who have moved back in with their parents, and they couldn't take their animals with them. The more I talk, the more excited the boy looks. And the more horrified the mother does. "Wait," she interrupts. "What kind of monsters are you keeping?" "Excuse me? They aren't monsters, they are just awesomely uncommon pets." I snapped, slightly annoyed. "Snakes. Spiders. They are monsters. How can you keep them?" "Honestly, I would just burn the whole house to the ground and just take the loss." Karen screeches. Now, something you should know is that as a child I did in fact have a house burned down. Both my parents were badly burned and spent months in the hospital. My brother and I had nowhere to go, as none of my family could or would take us in. The firefighters ended up cleaning out a back room at the station and let us live there for a month before my mom was released from the hospital. So, the threat of going through that again shook me to my core. That kind of joke isn't funny. You would say that to someone who owned a dog or a cat, so don't say that to me. I've been through the aftermath of losing a house to a fire. It's not something to use as an empty threat. I snarl at the Karen. She sniffs and tosses her nose into the air. Who said it was an empty threat? She snips at me. Everyone froze. I can't imagine what my face must have looked like. Ray looked between us and took a step away from me. "It better be, Karen, because I have enough cameras that alert me if anyone steps onto my property. I also have enough ammo to bring down a small army. Take from that what you will." I snarled, grinning like a shark. "Was that a threat?" Karen gasps. "As long as you don't plan to follow through with yours, I won't be forced to follow through with mine." I grinned sharply. She storms back up the drive, leaving her now wide-eyed son behind. As she slams the door, Ray jumps. "Well, that wasn't how I accepted this day to go," he sighs tiredly. I just nod. The kid looks at me and sheepishly before shyly asking, "Could I hold one of your snakes and see your spiders?" "Talk to your dad when he gets home, and if he says yes, you can come over and hang out," I tell him, still trying to calm down. I know I probably didn't handle it the best. But when she was talking about burning the house down, I just thought back to trying to drag my autistic brother out of the house, not knowing if my parents were still alive. I could still practically smell the burning wood and feel the burns I got on my back from trying to shield my brother flare up. The fear of that happening again was heart-stopping. The next story is titled "I Don't Work Here, But Now You Get to Come to My Work." I'm a correctional officer and work nights. After work I normally just go home and sleep to get ready for my next 12-hour shift. However, on my days off I take the time to do chores and housework. On this day I did not have the night off, so I had to get what I could done before going to bed. So I went home and picked up my wife and kiddos to go grocery shopping. We get to the store and start doing the usual. A lady comes up to me and my family and starts asking for directions to items. Some I know and some I don't, so I tell her where the things I know and apologize for the things I don't. Now mind you, I'm in full uniform. Taser cross-draw, cuffs on each hip, fogger on left thigh, spray and all the other items I use at work. On top of all that, I smell of peppers, sweat, mold and rust as the facility I work at is old and moist. She seems upset but walks away. We continue shopping and after a while we meet up with the lady and she spots us and comes down, but this time she's pissed. She starts screaming that I'm the worst employee ever and I should be fired for not helping. She continues on about how I should be catching shoplifters or back watching the cameras instead of flirting with this idiot. Yay, she's one of those. I interrupt her rant and saw the usual words of, "I do not work here." She of course fails to hear them, as is the usual on this sub, and continues her rant. Yelling and screaming that she picked me to help her because I'm the asset protection and should know where everything is. I ask my wife to take the kids and find a manager for this Karen. Lady, from now known as Karen, is none too pleased to hear her secret identity outed and increases her volume. I try to explain to Karen that I am a jailer, not loss prevention at a grocery store. I tell her to go pound sand and find someone that actually works here. I then turn my back and start to walk away when I'm nailed in the back of the head and fall forward in a full face plant. I'm hurting, dated and can feel glass all around me. I roll onto my back and feel around. It's pasta sauce. This CN just brained me with pasta sauce. She's still yelling and screaming and raises another jar to throw. I grab my taser. Aim and pop. Down she goes. Hard I get up, stumble over, flip her around, and cuff her. She's out like a light. My guess is the fall. I then sit back down and take an inventory of myself. I'm bleeding pretty bad from my head but seem to be alright. My wife, customers and management shows up as I'm checking over Karen. I pulled my trauma kit off the back of my belt to get to the smelling salts. I tell them to call 911 and continue checking on Karen. She's awake, dazed and blissfully quiet. The rest goes as expected. The police arrive, question me, question her, watch the cameras, and I refuse medical treatment but do press charges. As my wife is a boss-ass idiot, I say that with reverence. She's medical trained and will take good care of me. I go home. She asked if I wanted staples or glue. I chose glue. She glues my head and we take a shower. Go to sleep and she wakes me up from time to time, which I know isn't the best idea, but hey. A few days later I'm writing this, so I ended up alright. I get a call a couple hours before my shift ordering me to come in early to talk to rank. Dreading this, I follow my orders and get up, shaved, showered and dressed. I go in and have to explain the whole thing again and again. Then they show me the video from the store. It's exactly as I explained. Though I did note she could throw far better than I could have dreamed. They order me not to wear my uniform outside of work and tell me I'll be working in booking tonight. I'm not very good at booking but look forward to the training and activity of it, as the rest of the facility is slow and boring. Around 11 p.m. rolls around and who do I see being escorted into booking but Karen. I start to talk but my sergeant taps me and shushes me. He talks to the deputy bringing her in and they start doing the paperwork while I watch and try to learn as much as possible. She's charged with aggravated assault of a law enforcement officer and possession of meth. Who would have thought? Now Karen gets to live at my workplace. I don't get to work in the female zones, but the booking process was fun, though I wasn't allowed to do anything but watch. After she's booked, I'm told to report to another zone and end up finishing the night. Now for the past few days pasta jokes have been in abundance and her nickname is Pasta Lady. Her court date isn't for a while and she's reportedly not getting along with other inmates and is in detox shoe. The next story is titled An MLB Baseball Camp and entitled Mother. Alright, this happened when I was 14. I was volunteering at a baseball camp run by an MLB team in my state. The coaches, of which I was one, wore jerseys that admittedly look almost exactly like the ones the real team wears, even down to the fabric, and baseball pants with belts and everything that makes us look like actual members of the team. The camp lasts for 5 days. For 4 we are at a minor league stadium in the host county, and for 1 we travel to the MLB stadium for a tour and to meet a player. We went to the team's ballpark and were unloading the buses. I was stuck with the youngest kids ages 4 to 6. A mother and her son, I'd say age 6, came up to me. Mother. What is this? Me. Oh, this is a baseball academy that the insert MLB team name here are running. Mother. Well, why are you here and not practicing? Me. Well ma'am, part of the camp is to let the kids have a tour of, insert stadium name here, and meet a member of the, insert team name here. Mother. No, I don't think so. I think these children are the kids of the, insert team name here, players. I want you to take my child with you and let him meet his favorite, insert player name here. Now which of these ingrates is that player's child? You will introduce my child to them so he can meet, insert player name here. Me. Miss, I can't do that as this IA baseball camp. We are only meeting one player and we don't know who that is yet. Mother. So it might be, insert player name here. Me. I guess, but I doubt it. They never really have the big names do this. Mother. Take my kid with you. You clearly run the camp. Me. No ma'am, I am a team leader. Mother. No, I know that camp they don't let adults be team leaders, you're lying. Now just so you know, I have always been very big for my age. At the time I was 5 feet 10 inches and 180 pounds and, even though I don't like bragging, I feel obligated to mention I was relatively muscular. I also act very mature for my age for reasons that I don't like to talk about. So I appeared to her to be an adult. Me. Well, I guess it's a good thing I'm not an adult. Mother. Now getting agitated, you're lying. You are at least 21. That water bottle probably has beer in it. Okay, now I've seen pictures of myself at 14 and I definitely don't look 21. Me. Ma'am, I am only 14. I will it be letting your child join us as these children's parents have paid good money for them to have this experience. I will not let your child have the same experience for free simply because you are too dense to understand what I am telling you in clear English. The camp charges $500 and she did speak English perfectly, so don't bother justifying her with that. Anyways, I brought the camp leader over to explain it to her as I was worried that she would do the normal Karen thing and act like I hit her. We went inside and the kids had a great time. When we came out, guess who was waiting? That's right, Karen was back in with her husband, who was my height but was comparatively a twig. He said I had threatened his wife. He told me to pay for the therapy she would need for that or he'd make me pay. I didn't have the energy for this, so I asked my friend, another coach there, to help the kids on board so I could get away from this. He knew what was up and was happy to as he had nothing else to do. Still not done, people. The next day at camp she was there waiting for me. She had tracked me down to this camp one worked at as we wear name tags and I have a unique name. She had called the man that runs everything and asked which one I worked at, saying that I had worked at another with her child and that he had taken a liking to me and wanted to say hi. At this point I went to security at the minor league stadium and told them what was happening. She was banned from the minor league stadium and her child was banned from the camp for what she did. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post